the sorrow. Like you, I too am filled with sadness. This world is one of sadness. Battle brings death. Death brings sorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, freaks and geeks, trolls and derps alike, welcome. Welcome all. I am Mullet Mike with the Battle Gaming Network, bringing you Creepy Gaming. Not just Creepy Gaming, but yet another Creepy Gaming special. And today we will be covering one of my favorite games of the series, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Now, I've got a lot to say about this game, so I'm not going to waste your time here. Let's just go ahead and get this started because there's a lot more to go. Turn the lights down and the volume up as we journey into some creepy gaming. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Today we will be discussing one of the creepiest moments in the entire Metal Gear Solid saga. Today we will be talking about Metal Gear Solid 3 and the River of Sorrow. Okay, this seems to be where the series gets polarizing, more so than the second title even. There were a lot of new game mechanics in Snake Eater, like hunting and a ton of new equipment, like the revival pill lodged in your tooth. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater was released on the PS2 to a mixed response. The title sold well, but not as well as previous installments. You typically either love this game or hate this game, and I won't bury the lead, I fucking love it! This title definitely rejuvenated my love for Metal Gear Solid, and if you want to play through the series but don't know where to begin, then I suggest Snake Eater as a good starting point. That's mainly because the game is, in fact, a prequel, and is the first game in chronological order. And I would suggest the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, because you get Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, Peace Walkers, and the original Metal Gears. After the mixed response Metal Gear Solid 2 got, series creator Hideo Kojima wanted to take the franchise back to its roots. And I mean way back. The game takes place in the jungles of Russia during the 1960s during the height of the Cold War. Survival elements have been brought back, with the addition of a few new ones as well. Again, if you want to play or replay the series for yourself, this is a great starting point. Okay, that being said, it's time to get to the scariness that is the sorrow. I gotta do a little story time, so spoiler alert if you haven't played it and still want to. And don't worry, I'll try to be as quick as I can, seeing as I want to get to the creepiness just as bad as you do. Okay. In this game, we play as Snake, but not Solid Snake. I'm talking about the OG, the real Snake, codenamed Naked Snake, later to be known as the Big Boss. That's right, the father of Solid, Liquid, and Solidus Snake. Getting to return and have the chance to play his own father, writer, director, and talented voice actor David Hayter provides the voice of Naked Snake. Being an origin story, this is one of the most important entries in the series. In this game alone, we are introduced to such pivotal characters such as the boss, Major Zero, Eva, a young Ocelot. It's a proverbial who's who of Metal Gear staple characters. This game is pretty much what you would expect from a Metal Gear game. Snake is sent on a secret mission, and you have to save Russian scientist Sokolov, fighting your way through a colorful cast of bosses. People get betrayed, double-crossed, some even get triple-crossed, and of course you must eventually fight a Metal Gear-like machine, the Shanglehod, the first of its kind. What makes Metal Gear Solid 3 stand out to me, though, is its story and characters. Okay, like I said, I'm trying to be quick about this. Naked Snake is sent to Russia to save Sokolov in what is known as Virtuous Mission. He is aided by Major Zero, who will become one of the series' more pivotal characters, a paramedic who goes by the name, well, Paramedic, and the original Snake's former mentor, the Boss. In Kojima's rewritten history, the boss is considered the mother of special forces, and it is said that her and Snake develop CQC or close quarters combat. During Virtuous Mission, the boss betrays you and defects to the Soviet Union, bringing along her team, the Cobras. She tells Snake that he is not welcome and can't come. Colonel Volgin, the boss's new ally, shoots a Davy Crockett nuke on a Soviet research facility, thus causing a major international incident. U.S. President Johnson has a private conversation with Soviet leader Khrushchev where he tells President that the U.S. must prove their innocence. Whew, fuck! And that's just the opening. Literally. The opening credits don't roll until after what I just told you. That's when you know you're in for something epic. It is then agreed that Snake will return to the Soviet jungles, meet with agents Adam and Eva, rescue Russian scientist Sokolov, eliminate the Cobra unit, destroy the Shanglehide, and inevitably kill his friend and mentor, the boss. Now, with all of that finally being said, I can get to the creepy stuff. I know some people complain and say the creepy stuff is never usually until halfway through the video. Well, I just like to help people who aren't familiar with the series and give players who are some context. I'm sorry. In this case, especially, putting it into context really makes it that much creepier. You'll see why. It has become a staple of the series now over the years for the Metal Gear Solid games to have a colorful cast of bosses to battle with. The Cobra unit is no exception. Here's where the more fantastical elements come into play. The boss's Cobra unit is made up of the Fury, the Pain, the Fear, the End, and the Sorrow. Although he's never really seen with the rest of the unit. All have some sort of special ability. For example, the Pain can control swarms of hornets to attack his enemies. The End is a really old sniper who is one with nature. And the Sorrow, well, the Sorrow is something else. Later in the game, Snake is trying to escape Ocelot and his GRU soldiers. After being beaten, tortured, and even losing his eye, Snake knows he has no other choice but to take a leap of faith and hope for the best. When landing in the water below, Snake is knocked unconscious. What happens next is one of the weirdest, strangest, most frightening boss battles I've ever been a part of. To be honest, I'm really surprised I didn't get more requests for this, and for those who did suggest it and I just didn't see it, I am so sorry. I would have covered this so much sooner. Snake awakens in what I call the River of Sorrow. You will see ghostly apparitions floating around you, taunting you, almost teasing you. This is where it gets interesting. Depending on how you play determines on what you may or may not see in the River of Sorrow. But basically, you will be faced with every life you have taken in the game thus far. And for me, that was quite a few. As you slowly walk down the Creek of the Damned, former enemies will grab at you, moaning in pain. It's one of the creepiest, most unexpected scenes I've ever witnessed in a video game. While walking, the Sorrow might occasionally jump scare you unexpectedly. If you're lucky enough, you can actually dodge the jump scares completely. Once you reach the end, you'll see the floating body of the Sorrow. If you touch him, you die. But this is where it gets even crazier. You are supposed to die. Remember the revival pill that I mentioned earlier? Yeah, you use that. This is just another way for Kojima to make players think outside of the box. Well done. Golf clap. Still not creepy enough for you? Well, after the battle, Snake revives underneath the waterfall he jumped from. Paramedic reveals that they were afraid they lost you. It is then revealed by Snake's team that the Sorrow has been dead for years. This explains why he is never seen with the rest of the Cobra unit. Not just that, but you might catch glimpses of him throughout the rest of the game. He was once the boss's lover, and in a strange parallel, she was the one that was ordered to kill him, much like Snake's mission is to kill the boss. Overall, great storytelling and a chilling boss fight that will stick with me until that day I walk down the river of sorrow myself.